This DSA one UGA fan rants and opinions. College football championship week. Well, first game I got a chance to see, like most people, was the USC Utah game, and Utah came out there and put in work. They did USC bad. I wasn't expecting it to be that bad, but Utah went out and set a point. They came out there to beat USC like they stole some, and that's exactly what it looked like. Then I ended up watching some of the Jackson State and the Jackson State and Southern game. Pretty much the same thing. And the funny thing about that game and the Georgia game, both of the teams, Georgia and Jackson State and Southern and LSU, they pretty much had the same exact points. It was probably off by a point or two until Georgia went up 50 and LSU went up to 30. That was a crazy game. Then I got a chance to catch some of the Clemson UNC game and some of the Michigan Purdue game. Both of those games were okay from what I did catch. I ended up going to sleep. So I can't really speak on those other four teams. But the thing that irked me was the Georgia game against LSU. LSU fans should not be feeling too bad or too mad about what they did with Georgia. The play call on the field that tripped me out was when Georgia blocked the field goal. Nobody knew what was going on except for some of the Georgia players. Even Todd Monken, in a sense, was saying, "Don't touch it," or "No Vader," or something like that. I was trying to read his mouth and see what he was saying because I couldn't really understand. And Buddy picked the ball up and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. That was beautiful. Excuse me. But it was a crazy game. When they put in Niesmeyer, I think that's how his name is pronounced, they put him in, that dude gave us pure D hell. Not gonna lie. If they would have started with him and Georgia didn't get the interception and score and the field goal block return for a score, that game would have been 38-30. That was a close game if this backup quarterback for LSU would have got in. Ringo pissed me all the way off in that game. He's still doing the same thing. I don't expect him to be able to advance as far as knowledge goes within 3 weeks of playing 3 other games, then going into the championship game and doing way better. But dude is doing the same thing. Teams are literally picking on him because he's either going to give you a pass interference or he's not going to look for the ball. And as one person said, he plays the ball instead of playing the receiver. LSU got 500 plus yards of passing on Georgia. 500 plus. We knew the secondary, some of us real UGA fans knew the secondary was going to be suspect, but that shit, what the hell? Why are the defensive coordinators having the corners and the safety worry about the quarterback taking off on a run and just letting the wide receivers get behind them? The safety's number one priority is to not let nobody get behind him. The touchdown that they scored, Ringo and Starks was both looking in the backfield trying to see where he gonna throw it. And this Meyer just launched it about, 30, 45 yards. But it caught it and scored on us. If Starks was back there, or even if Bell was back there, because I don't think Bell was able to drop back as far because he had a wide receiver going up the sideline. The corner on that side was with him, so they both had that wide receiver locked down. But Ringo and Starks was further back than Ringo. Ringo was not going to get there. Starks should have been watching the wide receiver go up the field and stay with him. If Nismeyer would have dropped the ball in there to where only the wide receiver can catch it, I can't be mad at that. That's just beautiful ball. A beautiful ball being thrown and dropped into an area to where only the wide receiver can get it. That's mainly a quarterback accuracy. That's a beautiful thing that a quarterback can do against a defender. But when it comes to just blatantly watching the quarterback constantly thinking he's gonna run, Nismeyer showed in that game, as far as what I seen, he's not a dual threat quarterback, meaning he's not gonna take off running to get yards. He's gonna make you miss, get open, and throw the ball to an open receiver. That's what we was getting killed at. That prevent defense has been the Achilles heel of Georgia. You ain't preventing nothing if you letting the damn wide receivers drop 10, 15 yards behind you and you steadily staying in your zone of 5 and 10 yards further back from where you started, and he's another 5 to 10 yards behind you. That does not help, and we're constantly getting killed. If we play TCU like that, with Dugan being their quarterback or Duggan being their quarterback, he's going to kill us. But from what I just heard, UGA is playing Ohio State. CJ Stroud is another problem. He is as elusive, to my understanding, as Nismeyer and Dugan or Duggan from TCU. He's just that mobile. He's gonna get the hell out the way, and then CJ Stroud is gonna run. He's gonna pick up yards. So that's another issue. I don't know what UGA is gonna do as far as containing him. My way of containing him would be the way that LSU and Texas A&M contained Daniels and Bryce Young. They left a spot on him, I think, the entire game. He wasn't just breaking runs like that. That's something UGA got to do with these last two teams, with Ohio State, with Ohio State quarterback, and possibly if Michigan wins out with their quarterback, because he will take off and run. And then again, possibly with TCU, if TCU beats Michigan. He's going to get out of it. All three of them quarterbacks are going to get out of there. They're not just going to scramble around and make you miss. If they make you miss, they taking off. They're going to hurt you. Georgia better tighten up as far as that bullshit-ass prevent defense that they like to use when it come to QBs like that. Or if you use the prevent defense, your safety should be damn near 20 yards back, so they have a chance to get a head start on a safety, not a safety, but on a wide receiver that's going that deep. It makes no sense that they put 4 wide receivers out, or maybe even 5, and then possibly use a tight end or use a running back to get underneath the safeties, but above the linebackers, and they nickel and diming them down the field. Am I saying the defense is going to be perfect and tackling and covering everything? No, but what I'm saying is they need to have better awareness in what is going on the field, instead of all 11 players damn near watching the quarterback. That is killing us. LSU didn't really have much of a run game, from what Kangaroo Black was saying, because I heard him mention some stats in that game. That's where I got the 500 plus from. They got 56 yards of rushing. So basically, LSU didn't have no choice but to throw the ball. Made them one-dimensional, and with that happening, that damn near killed us. Take away them 2 big plays, the extra point that Georgia made, that Georgia got, that took us up to 50, and the field goal block that scored 7. Take them 2 players away, is possibly 36-30. That don't make no damn sense. I'm not finna get on here and bash Stetson or talk bad about Stetson. Stetson played an awesome game. I'll give him that. Been needing to see him do that all goddamn season. But as things go and things happen, you can play only the way that you're meant to play with what the teams give you. Not knocking Stetson or anybody else. I'm extremely happy that I think Darnell got 3 touchdowns, or at least 3 touches. I know he scored twice, but at least 3 touches. And the crazy thing about that is, when, not McIntosh, but McConkey, when he got hurt and got taken out the game, the fucking playbook, as far as passing, opened up. That's amazing. I'm saying this sarcastically. That's fucking amazing. You had to lose your damn safety blanket in order to distribute the damn ball to other players that you could have included McConkey or McConkey in that would have made Georgia passing wise a bigger fucking threat. And I'm not putting this all on Bennett. He's the one that's getting the play calling from Todd Monken. So with that being the issue that I'm having with the offense, that's fucking crazy. Our run game gashed LSU nicely. We didn't have a whole bunch of 20, 30-yard runs or even 10 to 15-yard runs. We was nickel and diming the run game, and it was working. Not talking bad about that either. But what I'm getting to is Monken and Stetson, or however that's supposed to work, I'm not saying target Washington a hell of a lot more, but what I'm saying is distribute the ball. If the play calling is to make the defense key in on Bowers and McConkey to open it up for the other receivers, I'm all for it. I'm for it. But if that's all you gonna ever do as far as a quarterback is only throw to them two and rarely throw to anybody else because you're too comfortable with throwing to them, you got to open up your vision and see who else is open. Like, I don't see no team, and I want Darnell Washington to come back. I don't see any team being able to contain Darnell unless you double him up. I don't see any team holding Bowers or McConkey unless you double them or put them in a situation where they can't get the ball thrown to them, which means you got to cover Kenny. I mean, not Kenny, but dang, not Rosamie Jack Saint, but oh man, I can't remember buddy's name last night. I think it's number 10. You got to cover him, and you got to cover the other wide receiver on the right side. So that's my point of emphasis as far as the defense go. Because Georgia's getting ready to go up against 2 out of the 3 teams that can gash us for huge yards if the defensive players don't pull their head off their shoulders, meaning they don't look back. So they can actually make plays on the ball. And Ringo gotta stop with the pass interference. The Georgia Tech game killed us. No, I take that back. It didn't kill us, but it hurt us a lot. I think he got like 3 calls. That's 45 yards. Because I think a pass interference call is 15 yards every time you do it. If it's not 15, it's 10. So that's 30 yards Georgia gave up, or Ringo gave up, as far as that go. It wasn't like he was tackling the dude to prevent a touchdown. The dude is 5 yards away from the first down, and he tackling the man before he get to him. This is the Georgia Tech game, I want to say. He didn't do it too much in this championship game, but he still got torched. He still got turned into toast, burnt toast. He got lit up like a Christmas tree. All because he don't want to turn around, and he trying to, from what some people have said and what I seen him do a little bit, is play the ball. You can't always play the ball. You got to play the receiver. And truthfully, I want Ringo gone. I want him to graduate, do well, and leave Georgia so another cornerback that can play, such as a Starks or a Bell, can take that spot. Because Starks and Bell, I think they're freshmen. They did well with the mistakes that they did. I mean, the mistakes that they had. They did well. I'm not going to sit up here and talk bad about them boys because they're freshmen. Yes, they should know how to play, but coming from high school to college, the speed is totally different. Just like going from college to the NFL, the speed is totally different. So I expect Starks to be a monster next year. I expect Bell to be a monster. We're probably going to lose Carter. I want to see Bennett pull off another magnificent year and get a national title. And with that, he's going to be gone. I think McIntosh is leaving. But I would love to see Edwards. And I wish I can remember the other running back's name. Edward and the dude behind him take off. I would also like to see Oscar Delp come back from his injury and do better next year. Not saying he did bad this year, but improve, I should say. Improve on what he's already been able to do. Hopefully Carson Beck don't do what he did in the bowl, not the bowl game, but in the Georgia spring game. Seen the dude running, he ain't even try to tackle him. He just was like, all right, whatever. Try to do something, man. Try to slow the man down some type of way. If he gonna act like that, I'd rather see Vandegrift in, if that's the goddamn case. And if Carson Beck decides to buck, I'd rather for him to go to another team and do that bullshit than do what he did in the Georgia spring game. And then it comes down to an actual game where he's one of the last lines of defense and he don't even try. Like, get your ass out the way. Like, take your ass to another school, you gonna do that. And then if Gunner is gonna be as good as some people think he's gonna be, I'd rather for him to win out the job. Because it seems like to me all three of them got an arm. All three of them got fairly good to decent. I'm not gonna say great because haven't seen none of them do anything except for the spring game. The spring game really don't count. It's an exhibition for you to work out some things in front of a crowd. That really don't surprise me or make me think they're gonna be such great players in an actual game. So I would like to see that happen. And again, Georgia had LSU beat. Why in the fuck was Brock Vandegrift not being put in the game to run out the last 10 minutes? This shit better be a strategic move by the coaching staff that they don't want nobody to see what they look like until next year. That better be the fucking move. For these young men that's sitting on this bench, plus Puglisi, I think that's his name, this is supposed to be coming. There's Beck, Vandegrift, Gunner, and Puglisi that's probably gonna be on the squad. And then it's not even mentioning Will Muschamp's son, who's also a quarterback. That's 5 QBs you got. And I say possibly because Puglisi hasn't suited up yet as far as just like practice. I mean, as far as just saying practice goes. So there's 4 quarterbacks you got. A lot of people are saying, and even I'm kind of sort of agreeing with it, that one of these guys are going to leave. One of these backup quarterbacks is going to buck. And I can't remember if Brock came first and then Carson. And I'm saying that in the aspect of I'm hearing that Carson is a freshman. And I think Brock is a sophomore. So next year, Brock will be a junior. And then Beck will be a sophomore. And then Gunner will be a sophomore. So depending on how that go or how that flips around and one of them end up having an extra year or whatever the case may be, we need to see one of these guys get in some games, like literally get in some games and do their thing. If Georgia's blowing out Ohio State like they did LSU, one of them 2 guys got to get in the fucking game. Got to. They'll only have 10 minutes worth of film or 20 minutes worth of film on both of these guys going into next year. And that's not going to really mean anything compared to a whole slate of season games for these guys to be picked apart at what they do good and what they do bad. Carson Beck is going to make a lot of mistakes. If he's a starting quarterback, he's going to make a lot of mistakes next year. I'm saying this now, I'm going to be upset, and it ain't even going to be with him because it's not his fault that he's not getting put in. But it's going to irk me because we had a few times this season that he could have played outside of the Vanderbilt game. That's the only game I've heard of where he got in and he did some damage. That's one game with however many minutes he had in that game to play. I didn't get a chance to watch that one. But with that being said, this man, what the fuck? And I'm going back to this LSU game. I was surprised at how LSU fought. I'm not saying they wasn't going to fight. I'm not saying that I wasn't expecting them to. I'm just surprised at how they did it. They did well to go up against the number one team in the country and do what they did the way that they did it. If we play an air raid offense, Georgia's in fucking trouble. You got two defensive coordinators, and neither one of them can put their head together to figure out how to slow this shit down. You're not going to completely stop an offense, and you're not going to completely stop a defense. But how in the entire hell do they put up 500 plus yards in a goddamn game? And this goes back to what I was saying against some of the other fans from other fan bases talking about, oh, we put up this many yards against y'all. I'm like, yeah, you did, but what was the score? As a prime example, Tennessee fans. From talking about last year's game into this year's game. Oh, we put up 500 some yards of offense on y'all. Yeah, you did, but what was the score? 42-17. Y'all didn't do shit. And I can't say that for LSU. LSU put up 500 some yards and they did some damage. Without them two big plays that Georgia had, possibly three big plays, including the extra point, the 2-point conversion, LSU came in to play. They came in to knock us off. And they damn near did it. So I'm hearing from Uncle Lou's channel the college football rankings: Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. Michigan and TCU gonna be a fire game. I ain't gonna knock it. That's gonna be a real good game. And I'm saying it from an offensive standpoint that both of these quarterbacks gonna get the hell up out of there. And with the way Duggan played against Kansas State, if Michigan is not prepared to slow him down, he will kill them, and Georgia gonna see him. Am I speaking a little bit too early saying Georgia's gonna knock off Ohio State and make it to the championship? Maybe. Am I becoming a Disney dog saying that Georgia is gonna just manhandle Ohio State? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm too realistic for that. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to myself or say some crazy stuff on YouTube to where it's like, oh, here go another Georgia homer who thinking that Ohio State is not gonna beat Georgia. From what I've seen with a lot of the top 5 teams catching hell within the last 2 weeks, Ohio State can be that team. Excuse me. Ohio State can be that team that knock us slap the fuck off. And I'm saying just in the passing game. Not the run game as much, but just in passing. Ohio State has a dual threat quarterback that can get out there and make some things happen. If Georgia defensive coordinator and co-defensive coordinator don't figure out how to slow that shit down, we in for a long night. I've also been hearing that Ohio State defense really ain't all that. So what might happen? This might be a goddamn shootout. Georgia does not have the quarterback for the past 3 to 4 years. Got a quarterback that can hang in a shootout. Georgia is consistently relying on the defense to do all the heavy fucking lifting, and the offense is helping out some. Like Ty Monken and Kirby Smart better figure out a way to balance this shit out. Because if you got a great offensive coordinator and your head coach who is defensively minded is coming together to put this type of game plan together to slow down these dual threat quarterbacks, it got to be something nice. Ringo got to get his shit together before he fuck around and cost us a damn game. Yeah, I'm saying it because I'm sick of seeing him not paying attention to what the fuck going on and he getting fucking beat. I expect freshman corners and freshman safeties to make them damn mistakes, because Malachi Starks tried to pick the ball off or at least knock it down. He was just a fraction of a second too late. If he would have moved, I'd say a second earlier, he would have knocked the ball down. I don't think he would have caught it, but he would have knocked it down. This DSA 1 UGA fan rants and opinion. I might be back with a second one. Bye.